Before Robert Downey Jr.'s return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I already believed Marvel Studios needed to take a bold new direction, abandon its current phase plans, and adapt Avengers Twilight. Now that Robert Downey Jr. is officially back, I'm even more convinced that this is the best move they could make. Avengers Twilight is a 6-issue miniseries by Chip Zdarsky with art by Daniel Acuna, presents a grim vision of the Avengers' future. Marvel has delivered several great Avengers stories over the past decade, but Twilight stands out as one of the best. It hits every mark of a classic Avengers tale, while offering a deep emotional conclusion for Earth's mightiest heroes. Revisiting the series now only strengthens my belief that Avengers Twilight would be the perfect next step for the on-screen Avengers, helping to solidify their cinematic legacy. While the series contains plenty of thrilling creative choices, one of its standout elements is the trope of Tony Stark as a head in a jar. This allows Stark to be slowly reintegrated into the story, and I immediately saw how this could bring Robert Downey Jr. back into the fold in a limited capacity. As it turned out, however, Robert Downey Jr.'s return is no cameo. He's fully committed to coming back, not as Iron Man, but as Victor Von Doom, which was announced at this year's Comic-Con. The decision to have Downey Jr. portray Doom rather than Stark was designed to shock and excite fans, but it generated more confusion than Marvel likely expected. Personally, I have no problem with actors playing different roles within the same universe, even high-profile stars like Robert Downey Jr. That said, if Robert Downey Jr. were to reprise his role as Iron Man, no story could be better suited for him than Avengers Twilight. Fans who are skeptical about Robert Downey Jr. playing Doom instead of Stark might agree with me eventually. If his casting as Doom is seen as a stunt, then Avengers Twilight offers a more genuine, emotionally impactful alternative. While it's probably too late for Marvel to overhaul its MCU roadmap, in the spirit of the what-if tradition, it's worth imagining what could have been. Adapting a comic book series to the screen is always tricky. The best comic book movies tend to remix and reimagine the source material, allowing the film versions of the characters to develop unique styles while paying homage to iconic moments. Still, fans including myself will always long for faithful adaptations of their favorite arcs. In this regard, Avengers Twilight is perfectly suited for a cinematic adaptation. Zdarsky's story takes place in a dystopian future where the US has fallen under authoritarian rule after a major defeat that led to the Avengers' disbandment. The narrative revolves around the team reuniting for one final mission, with Tony Stark's son, James, serving as a key antagonist for much of the series. It's a redemption arc for both father and son, which would make it an ideal follow-up to the Infinity Saga for both Robert Downey Jr. and Marvel Studios. The series mirrors the Avengers' origin in some ways and echoes the tone of Avengers Endgame, particularly with Tony Stark making a final sacrifice at the heart of the revolution. I believe MCU fans would find Avengers Twilight compelling and emotionally satisfying because of how it explores what truly makes the Avengers Earth's mightiest heroes. Of course, any adaptation would require changes. In the comic, the mother of Tony Stark's son is Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, but in the MCU, this would have to be changed to Pepper Potts. Similarly, Tony's son James would likely be replaced by his MCU daughter Morgan in the role of Avengers antagonist turned ally. Despite these adjustments, Twilight aligns remarkably well with the MCU. An adult Kamala Khan plays a critical role, and aged versions of Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, and the Hulk feature prominently. I also can't overlook Daniel Acuna's stunning art, which highlights the wary, battle-hardened Avengers and the dystopian, oppressive world they inhabit. The blend of familiarity and freshness in both the story and visuals make Avengers Twilight exactly what I hope to see in any adaptation, whether on page or on screen. While I remain optimistic about Marvel's plans for Avengers 5 and 6, I can't help but feel that Robert Downey Jr.'s return as Doom represents a missed opportunity to tell one final, definitive Iron Man story. However, this is only true if the next installment could surpass the emotional impact of Tony's sacrifice in Endgame, and I believe only Twilight has the potential to achieve that. Avengers Twilight delivers a definitive ending to the Avengers story. Though it's considered an alternate continuity in the broader Marvel multiverse, this actually enhances its appeal as a potential basis for a future Avengers film. Since the MCU's rise to cultural dominance, Marvel has treated it as an ongoing saga, similar to the comics. While this has brought great success, it isn't sustainable forever. Avengers Endgame may not have been the final Avengers movie, but it was a definitive conclusion for the story up to that point. Reaching the emotional heights of those early MCU phases is no easy task, as the last few years of Marvel movies have shown. If Marvel Studios want to give the original Avengers lineup the send-off they deserve, on par with Tony Stark's endgame exit, they should look no further than Avengers Twilight. Though I know Marvel won't scrap its existing plans for this adaptation, I can't help but feel Twilight is the right direction. Few Avengers stories have resonated with me as much as this one. When I think about where I want Marvel to go next, Chip Zdarsky and Daniel Acuna's work is at the top of my list. For now, I can only hope that the upcoming Avengers films capture the spirit of Twilight, its desperation, drama, and ultimately its renewal of hope. If the next MCU saga can evoke those feelings, I'll be satisfied. In the meantime, I highly recommend that all Avengers fans, especially those transitioning from MCU fandom to the comics, give Avengers Twilight a read. And while you're at it, imagine what Marvel could do with the Avengers next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates.